Today is October 17th, 2025. I'm Cindy Allen, CEO of Trade Force Multiplier, a global trade consultancy that I run. Welcome to Simply Trade Cindy's version, where I base an international trade update on a Taylor Swift song. Today's Taylor Swift song, brought to you in association with the Global Training Center. The song is Wish List from Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl. We'll get into a little bit why I chose that song for this week. But first, what happened this week in trade? Well, we are still in a shutdown, week 3 of the government shutdown that's happening. The good news is we haven't really seen an impact on the flow of traffic. We haven't really seen an impact on the flow of trade yet. We are seeing responses from CBP. They are facilitating trade and questions and outreach. So we haven't really had a big impact. We have seen some impacts from the other government agencies, specifically when a hold or an exam is required. That's been challenging for some of the agencies. FDA seems to be moving somewhat the same. At CPSC, USDA, some of the other smaller agencies are being impacted quite a bit. But we'll see where this goes. We haven't seen any layoffs from CBP, which is good. We have not seen any massive traffic stoppages for international trade. So we'll keep an eye on this as we go into next week. Will be week 4. Hopefully it won't go that far, but we'll see. We've also seen a few more announcements that have happened from pharmaceutical companies. If you remember, President Trump and his administration actually announced that they were going to assess Section 232 duties on name brand pharmaceuticals that were brought into the United States. And it was delayed. We haven't seen any additional information or details on that. But what we have seen is a series of announcements by pharmaceutical companies and by the administration that these companies are making investments in U.S. manufacturing, and that is designed to hold off any Section 232 duties. Because when these were announced, they did indicate unless there was an investment in the United States, the duty would be assessed. So we see a lot of companies looking to make investments or highlighting the investments they've already made or enhancing the investments they've made. So that's good news for those of us who are on pharmaceuticals or actually handle those in international. One of the other things we've seen is a downgrade of the tensions with China. We don't expect to see that 100% duty assessed on goods from China on November 1st, like had been previously announced. If you remember when China announced additional restrictions on rare earth minerals used to produce a lot of things that include semiconductors and some of the other chip manufacturing facilities, the administration reacted quite quickly that they were going to assess additional 100% duty on goods from China because of that. That seems to have waned. The markets react immediately badly when that was announced, but we've seen a recovery somewhat. And now that those tensions have appeared to cool down a bit, and there are some indications that discussions are continuing in that regard. So we don't expect a massive round 2 of trade duties on China, at least not right now, which is good news. That's good news for us. One of the, I would say, neutral things is the additional fees on Chinese operated and owned vessels, as well as those companies operating vessels that are made in China, took effect on October 14th this week. We haven't seen a big impact, which is also good. Most of those companies who had extra vessel capacity actually routed the China country of origin vessels out of U.S. trade routes. So they brought in Korean vessels, some of the vessels that have been produced in other areas of the world to fill in for the U.S. capacity. And that's worked hand in hand with the capacity needs have dropped a little bit over the past several months. So we haven't seen a need for the massive vessels that China produces, the mass capacity container vessels. So that's good. So the vessel capacity that we've seen is sufficient using alternative country of origin vessels. We also have seen very few indications from the carriers themselves that they're going to pass on that additional couple of hundred cost per container fees to the customers. We haven't seen additional assessments come out. We haven't seen that affect tariff rates in tariffs, meaning the tariff rates that carriers file with the FMC. We have not seen additional increases in that. We have seen a continued weakening of price and volume, however, as I indicated. So that may change. They haven't taken it off the table completely, but they have said that they're initially not going to be assessing additional fees to the importers who are utilizing these vessels to come in. CBP also clarified that vessel fees are to be paid directly to CBP via pay.gov or some other capabilities that vessel carriers actually already pay fees for docking fees and things like that, user fees that they pay directly to the government. And they are expecting the vessel operators to use those same methods to pay these fees, and they will not be collecting them in a separate collection or on an entry or on a per container basis. They will expect that the carriers are going to be paying that. They also recommended that carriers pay that 3 days before arrival so that that can be confirmed that the payment has been received and that the vessel will be approved for unloading. We haven't really heard yet. It's only been in place a few days. We haven't heard how CBP is actually enforcing that the carriers are paying the correct amount per container per vessel fees. We don't know if there's going to be any hold capacity. Will they actually prevent a vessel from being unloaded if that fee hasn't been paid? We haven't seen how the carriers are going to translate that to any other customs actions that are happening at the ports. So remains to be seen how that's going to shake out. Also in the vessel environment, IMO and the World Trade Organization, World Customs Organization came out with some additional container fee proposals for green fees to encourage vessels to move to a greener, more environmentally friendly operating posture. That caused some consternation within the vessel community, within the carriers. President Trump did come out against those fees and vowed to take action if those were assessed or any of our vessels were prevented from being unladen in foreign ports. So that is something that we should continue to watch as it goes forward. Brokers continue to struggle to apply accurate Section 232 duties for goods coming into the United States. The latest action that we saw did indicate that there was a different layering regime when we're looking at how to layer steel, aluminum, automotive, lumber duties on some of these products coming in. As well as some are now exempt from the reciprocal duties for the IEPA reciprocal duties. So there is a lot of work being done to understand on a product by product, HTS by HTS basis, which duties apply and which duties do not apply. It's been very complicated for customs brokers who have come together with the NCBFA, the National Customs Brokers and Forwarders Association of America, to make it simple and give their members tools to use that to apply those duties correctly. If you're an importer, hang in there. We're trying to get it right as customs brokers. If you're a customs broker, also hang in there so that we can try to do this accurately in a very complex environment, which kind of brings me back to the Taylor Swift song Wish List. In Wish List, which is off of her new album, as I indicated, Taylor outlines that others may want extravagant things. They may want the yacht life, the cars, the awards, the jewelry, the recognition. All of those things that we associate with being successful and ensuring that you have, visibility and that showgirl life. And really, what she sings about, which I think is what we are all kind of looking for right now, is her wish to have a more simple life, a bit of normalcy in this crazy world that we're living in. And I thought that was really appropriate for today's environment where customs brokers, with that spotlight that we got when the new administration came in and trade became normal news on the daily news. And we saw it, in normal publications talking about customs brokerage processes and trade complexities. The Wall Street Journal, all of the New York Times, they were suddenly talking about what we do. And it was really exciting and great. Wow, look at the recognition. Look at all the things that we're doing. But now, after going through that for the last 8 or 9 months, I think we're all wishing for a little bit better normalcy. And I think this is encapsulated motivated by a campaign that the NCBFAA is running, kind of tongue in cheek, to make trade boring again. We all have the buttons and we've all seen them. And I think that the entire industry would actually kind of welcome making trade boring again right now, because the layers and layers of complexity is something that we've never seen before. And we're struggling, even with new AI capabilities and tools, we're still struggling on how to make sure that those entries are in there correctly and international trade flows accurately, compliantly, and for our customers. So that is definitely on my wish list, more immediate. I'm hoping there's no Friday afternoon announcement that impacts trade. And I'm hoping we have a couple of weeks of normalcy. That's definitely my wish list for this week. Thanks. We'll see you again.